Hello again. Slight change up in the format today, as this episode is to address some various points I want to talk about, but with the only uniting element being that they're from the DC universe. But before we begin, let me thank my wonderful patrons for making these episodes possible. Now, point 1, and with a familiar starting point, Stephanie Brown. You see, a common misconception about Stephanie, mostly propped up by fanon but also to an extent by some writers, is that Stephanie is kind of, well, ditzy. And while there's nothing wrong with being that way, it's very much a not accurate way to portray her character. Because Stephanie is like a huge literature nerd, and this is actually one of those character traits that somehow avoided being totally wiped by the various reboots. Granted, it took a bit of time to make its comeback, but both classic and current Steph both frequently drop obscure literature references or cite some major classics. Aside, this is something Jason does too, from his early Robin days to his Red Hood days. This even applies to Stephanie across the multiverse, so I definitely call it a core character trait. As an added bit of trivia on the Steph front is that libraries have been a safe place for Stephanie to retreat to when her home life has been especially terrible, both in previous canon and in the more recent ones. There's definitely some interesting meta or potential commentary that can be read into this if one wants, but I might do a full essay on that potentially intriguing subject and the implications thereof later. For now, just appreciate the fact that if Stephanie throws a book at someone, she's almost certainly memorized it. Moving on to point 2, Connor Hawke is ace. That is very cool, and while it was unlikely to have been the intent at all of the authors and artists across the years to indicate as such, this announcement really, seriously, amazingly works so flipping well with all these older comic portrayals of his character, and I love it. Like, he is just so 100% absolutely not vibing with any of this, and no one else around him even gets it. Poor Connor. But whatever the case, Connor Hawke is an iconic ace king and I salute him. Now on to point 3 and the larger segment of this piece, Deathstroke. Lots of fandom and some writers have this idea of Deathstroke, usually wanting him to be either a Batman villain for some reason, or a totally independent rogue operator mega villain, even expressing resentment over him ever fighting the Titans or Dick Grayson. This is, how should I say it gently, baseless? Slade is, and always has been, 100% a Teen Titans / Dick Grayson villain. If you want a world-class assassin to fight Batman, David Cage was created for that express purpose as one of Bruce's teachers, and the father of Cassandra Cain. Deathstroke lacks any personal ties to Bruce or Gotham outside of having a weird hate/respect thing with Dick, because the man keeps stealing his kids and kicking his ass with the power of friendship, and also just being much more badass than him. Like, just for clarity, Slade initially came into the conflict with Titans because they inadvertently killed his eldest assassin son who was on a job and he wanted to finish the job and avenge the guy. Slade was a Titans villain all through the 80s and 90s, long before any cartoon put him in that role, as in actuality he was put in that role in the 2003 series because of his comics role. Slade's ex-wife dies in a battle between Hive and the Titans. His son Jericho betrayed him and joined the Titans explicitly to fight him, and Rose became good as a result of training under Dick and broke away from him too. And it's not just Dick either, Garfield Logan's got a full-on personal vendetta with him. So yeah, Slade's always been a Titans villain, and it's always been personal with them, with a sort of side of it being extra personal vibes with Dick. Fortunately, as one Tumblr post linked below put it, nature is healing, because it seems that after several years of trying to cram Slade into the role of a Batman or Green Arrow villain, he's right back where he started, getting his ass kicked by Nightwing in front of Titan's Tower. You love to see it. Anyway, that's all for today. Thank you for tuning in. If you would like to help support these episodes and get early access to scripts, videos, stories, and art, please hit up my Patreon. If you would like to commission 3D art, please swing by my coffee and we can chat. For now though, that's all. Thanks for stopping by.